Vote for me and I'll set you free.
It's just another word for nothing left to lose. Over me.
All right, folks, you certainly know what that theme song means by now. That's right. It's time for another episode of America Matters. I'm your host, Leo Zaki, with Eddie Floyd, Channel Lawson, and joining us today is the great Paul White. Paul, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to be
Always
here.
a pleasure to have you here, my friend. You're just the wizard of education. You know how to get kids back into classrooms and actually performing at the levels that they should be.
Amen.
Because you had done it for a long time. You took the worst of the worst and you made them the best of the best. But that's a little thing called discipline and, I don't know, giving a crap.
Yep. Yep.
It's a magical thing, brother. So I'm just glad you're with us. Before we jump into everything, I want to say hello and welcome to everybody tuning in on the Salem Network, Radio for America, the Answer Network, 93.7 KPGF, as well as AM 1060, AUN Television, and everybody out there watching on all those other platforms, Facebook, Rumble, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. Thank you all for tuning in. We got a great show for you guys today. And I guess we're going to start it off talking about, the migrants, the immigrants, what's going on with all that. So, we're getting them removed from the country. How do you guys feel about that? It's a good start, huh?
I tell you, there was a governor on, I can't remember. I think he was the governor of Connecticut, I believe. But the bottom line was, he said, I've got an immigrant living upstairs. He said, I dare Holcomb is his name? Holcomb?
Oh, that's right.
He said, I dare him to knock down my door and arrest me. And Holcomb got on the air and said, know what? Holden. He said, I look forward to arresting him as much as he looks forward to going to prison. So they mean business, Leo.
Well, we got to get him out of here.
Amen.
Well, we had a thing here in town, Leo. Perfect example, little local op-ed thing for a couple council people, a couple of commissioners, a school board person, and they put a joint op-ed together. And they complained in their op-ed about how sad it is and the children and families being deported. And they said how so many of these people are good, hard workers and good people. Well, they are, but the point they miss is two things. One, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. And at some point, in time, those families knew they were crossing a sovereign border and coming in illegally. So it's wrong. And the other part, with all these crying local politicians, you would guarantee that the source of this problem was caused by the last three presidents other than Trump. So 08, 12 and 20, the people that they definitely voted for on the other side are the ones who made this like this.
Of course. Because they want to bring us into a one world government situation. They want to have open borders and they want to destroy the concept of nations and stuff like that. That's really what they're doing.
Now we can see the extent of this invasion.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
They shut down the 101 freeway and not one American flag. All these different nations' flags attacking people, attacking Americans in the streets,
and they shut
burning
it down.
American flags.
Right. And they shut it down.
This is the invasion. So it's here, baby.
Yeah.
They love this country so much. So actually, I got a little clip here I'll play of just that.
Good.
Of what it looks like and what these people sound like.
But I hope you know, if you're watching this and you are scared, we are all here to fight for you.
The authoritarian powers that be will not rise.
Right now at 5, thousands of people pouring onto the 101 freeway in downtown LA, protesting deportations across the country. We're live on the clashes with police, the impact of traffic, and the message from the protesters.
NBC4 News at 5 starts with breaking news.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Kathy Vara.
And I'm John Kennedy's Clean Protesters started at LA City Hall this morning, eventually made their way to the 101, completely shutting down traffic in both directions.
Right now, let's get out to NBC4's Tracy Leon. She has an update for us. Tracy.
Yeah, John and Kathy, we are near Olvera Street across from the plaza where many people tell me the demonstration started early this morning. They came out here after seeing a post on social media urging them to protest deportations. Let's get straight to that video that shows these massive crowds. Tens of thousands of people came out here to downtown LA, starting on surface streets before moving onto the 101. As some people entered the freeway, crowds cheered them on from the overpasses and the side streets. LAPD called this a non-permitted demonstration that has remained peaceful and moved to City Hall through the surface streets before heading onto the 101, blocking both the south and northbound lanes. This protest has continued to grow by the hour since we've been here. Many people carrying signs speaking out against President Trump's immigration policies and massive deportation effort. We spoke to people who came out to show support for the demonstration. Here's what they had to say.
My parents are immigrants, both from Jalisco, Mexico. And if there was one thing that they taught me was to work hard, to be a good person, and to not be intimidated by anything that may come our way. The Chicano, the Mexican, the Latino, Central American, all of us. What helps us be strong is to be united. That is something that's quintessential to our culture.
They forgot to tell her you got to obey the law.
Showing support today, supporting and fighting the government, showing that the authoritarian powers that be will not rise.
Many people are afraid, but I hope you know if you're watching this and you are scared, we are all here to fight for you. We are all here to fight for you, and this is just the beginning, and we will not give up.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of gobbledygook coming out of their mouths.
Yep.
I mean,
they're not fighting for us.
No, that's all gobbledygook. They're not saying any, they're not presenting any facts. They're just like, my parents came here. Oh, we're immigrants. They got signs like being brown is not illegal. Okay, again, this isn't a race thing, but they love to push the race card. They love to push, I don't care where you came from. If you came here from Ukraine illegally, I want you the hell out of here, or Germany or England. I don't care. I don't care what color you are. If you came here the wrong way, you got to go.
Right.
It doesn't matter what color you are. And then they're all the authoritarian powers that be. Oh, it's just the same stupid nonsense.
Have you seen what Mexico does, Leo?
With what?
First, let's say they were arguing about wanting to be in Mexico illegally. They're not going to get deported right away. First, they're going to have to pay a $2,500 fine and then go to prison for 2 years. Then they get deported.
Right.
Well, a little stricter down there, huh?
Yeah.
I've never seen attitudes so good on the border like they are ever since Kristi Noem got there, Leo.
We're having a great time with her, and look, they're starting with the worst of the worst. So, eventually they're going to come for the rest of them. We have to get them out of here. They're taking advantage of the system. It's that simple. Look, if you leave on your own, you can come back, properly. Because if you get pushed out, you're not going to be allowed back. So that's the other thing. And don't think it's not going to happen. Oh, it'll happen. It won't happen to me. It'll happen to somebody else. It's going to happen to you. You broke the law. You're taking advantage of this country. You're screwing over the people that are citizens of this nation. And we're not going to take it anymore.
Right.
With that, we're going to take our first break here on America Matters. I'm Leo Zaki with Eddie Floyd, Chandler Lawson. Joining us is Paul White. We'll be right back.
Have you been injured in an accident? Trust Adriana Guzman-Freilich at AGF Law, your local personal injury law firm in Reno. At AGF Law, we pride ourselves on being honest, hardworking, and ethical. Let's meet in person to understand your case and fight for your rights. Located near South Virginia and Plum, we're always ready to help. Don't navigate the aftermath of an accident alone. Call Adriana at 775-453-9595 or visit adrianalegal.com. Your recovery is our priority, and we're committed to getting you the justice you deserve.
I used to love going for long walks, but my back just doesn't cooperate like it used to.
Same here. But ever since I started a routine with Active Life Integrated Health on Moana Lane, I feel more flexible and in control. You should check them out.
This is Dr. Tom Waldorf. Let's make it happen so you can feel better naturally. To schedule the beginning of your transformation, call 775-842-0065 or visit activelifereno.com online.
At a Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, we've been accomplishing happy feet for over 30 years.
We offer a various range of shoe styles and sizes for both men and women. From all-season shoes and orthotics to work boots and safety shoes, our professional and reliable staff possesses the knowledge to help you find the proper shoes to fit your needs. Hard to fit? Hard to find?
A Proper Fit Footwear is here to give our customers happy feet. We make people aware of potential foot problems as we're sizing their feet, suggesting the right arch support, and guiding them to the proper shoes for their needs.
Stop by a Proper Fit Footwear at 4001 South Virginia Street in the Reno Town Mall today, and allow the owner Mike Jones and our fabulous staff to find the perfect pair of shoes tailored to your specific needs.
A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, the home of happy feet, where comfort and your feet meet.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
All right, folks, we're back with America Matters. I'm Leo Zaki with Eddie Floyd, Chandler Lawson, and Paul White. And, well, folks, we're going to transition over and start talking about the tariff strategy that Trump is imposing on all the nations around the world, which I think is long overdue. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think it's long overdue. I think it'll change the economy of America, and it won't be overnight, but it will change it to where we will once again become the strongest country in the world. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you notice what a difference 24 hours made in the attitudes of the president of Mexico and Trudeau. Immediately they said, yeah, we'll put 10,000 each troops on the border for you. Let's talk about this. Trump he knows what he's saying, and he's willing to stand up for it.
Yeah, the art of the deal.
Look, and you gotta wheel and deal in this world because they've been taking advantage of us. And, it's amazing what happens when you stand up and, fight for yourself and to defend our own country. So on February 3rd, Trump announced a 30-day suspension of planned tariffs on Canada and Mexico because they started to play ball.
Yep.
So it's really that simple, and those key negotiations with Trudeau and Sheinbaum,
something
whatever.
like that, Sheinbaum, something like that.
Sheinbaum.
Yeah.
Talking about the illegals and talking about the drugs coming in. That's the big thing. I mean, we got a big problem with that, and that's
right.
That's why this open border thing is even more exacerbated and bigger than just illegal immigrants. It's the drugs that are coming through.
Right.
So
I believe, Leo, it was either you or Paul who said yesterday it was the number one killer of people, Americans, 18 to 35.
Even older, almost 50. Eddie and
Well,
I were
they
just
need
talking.
to quit taking it.
Yeah.
Quit doing drugs. Quit snorting. Quit taking fentanyl. Then you won't die.
Right.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of folks don't know that there's fentanyl in the drugs that they're buying. Unfortunately,
Illegal drugs.
Yeah, people are buying illegal drugs, and that's a whole.
Well, then
it's the risk you
take.
take.
Hope for them. Yeah, there's no hope for them.
I mean, that's the risk you take. I mean, when they're lacing drugs to cut it because they're trying to, because the drug dealers don't give a crap. They're trying to make as much money as they can.
Right.
And so they're just going around pushing drugs on people. So, with a substance like fentanyl to cut whatever it is, whether it's, I don't know, whatever drugs people are taking. So, I mean, I've heard they're even like putting fentanyl on marijuana, which I can't even believe that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't even know who's like, that's a great idea. Let me put fentanyl on this weed. That's really dumb. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently, look, we live in a crazy world. So, the concerns with the tariffs that people are having, that it's going to raise consumer prices, increase the cost of imported goods. But the purpose of that is to stimulate manufacturing here in the United States, because if it's cheaper to be made here, and obviously it's going to most likely be better quality. Look, there's obviously going to be some things that, you just got to have coming from different places. Like, I don't know, like if you want like quality, like goods or something, like your food from like Italy or France or something like that, but that's a very niche category. What we're talking about, stuff that, people are buying like on places like Temu and, crap like that, made in China cheaply. Those are things that we could be producing here in America, and that we're actually going to be made well and last, and not necessarily be the thing that you purchased to advertise. A buddy of mine, bought some like toy bow and arrows for his kids, and they came in different sizes. Then, but you don't know what you're getting with that stuff. But it's low quality stuff. But people are concerned that they could see price hikes up to 20%. And it's the point is that it's going to stimulate people to want to produce goods here. So if you see that opportunity in the market, or you really like something that's going to get hit with a tariff, why not start your own business?
Right.
We need more small businesses.
Right.
Amen.
The automotive industry is something that is gonna see a lot of increases because look, there's a lot of cars that are brought in from outside the United States, and don't get me wrong, I personally think that American cars aren't that great. Hopefully we can get better manufacturers, and I'm not talking about Tesla because I don't care for Teslas, but maybe our manufacturers here will do a better job at competing with the European markets.
Yeah, that Tesla caught on fire, I think in California like 3 days ago, was still burning.
Yeah, I mean, look, that lithium battery is not necessarily safe, and nobody has a way of disposing of it yet. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues with that. Plus, all the child slave labor in Africa that everybody just kind of brushes under the table and doesn't talk about.
Right.
But if Elon Musk can figure out how to reach up for a rocket coming back from outer space and grab it, he can figure out how to make a good lithium battery, I think.
Well, there's a lot of other ways to make batteries that aren't lithium that are far more environmentally friendly and far safer and far superior. So they're in the works of making things like that right now. I'm part of a company that's doing that right now. I've invested in. I really believe in that. I think batteries are good as long as they're safe and not flammable, and they actually can do a really good job of storing energy. I mean, if we want to have if the power goes out, right, you want to be able to have a backup system. Redundancy, again, is being proactive as opposed to reactive. And if we can produce energy and save it, if we're not using it all, then we're doing a good job.
Right.
So those are things that we need to work on. And then some of the other things that they're concerned about is that there's going to be slow economic growth because of the tariffs. They're saying it's going to, weaken and impact jobs in agriculture, energy, and the manufacturing sectors that rely with trade with Canada and Mexico.
My own prediction.
Buy American. Yeah, buy American.
I think initially that could be the case, but there's always gonna be that uncomfortable start to things, which is why people always push back against even wanting to do that in the first place.
Yeah, my own prediction is that Mexico and Canada are going to come to their senses real quick. That's not even going to be an issue. And then China will just kind of be the issue they've always been, back and forth. But I think Mexico and Canada realize it's best for everybody if they work with us.
And when's the last time you bought something that said made in Canada?
Yeah, right.
I haven't seen that forever.
Only
or
time
made
I've
in
ever-
Mexico.
only
Or
time
made
I've-
in Japan. It's all China.
Every time I've ever seen it, it's been on a bottle of maple syrup.
Right.
Yeah,
whiskey.
but
They're
Vermont
apparently a
maple
big
syrup.
exporter.
Vermont maple syrup, Vermont whiskey.
That's right.
Whistle pig.
American.
That's the best whiskey.
Vermont.
Yeah.
'Cause they're right there on that Quebec border.
Hey, they're on the right side of the border, baby.
That's right.
Hey, Vermont maple syrup is the maple syrup. Don't be buying
Oh,
that
yeah.
Canadian crap.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Well, unless they join the union, that's another story.
That's right. That is American.
Then it might then the flavor profile might change and have a little bit more freedom. Hey, gotta love that taste of freedom, brother. That's what we live in this country for.
That's
Amen.
You know? Hey, look, and I like that dangerous freedom. I'm a big fan of it. Gotta have it. Well, so what are some of the other things here? Deanne Tate writes in, why do we give Canada billions of dollars as foreign aid? Because
250. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
because we're their army.
We have a corrupt government.
Yeah,
and it's just more money laundering. That's my take on it. I know that I think during the Biden administration we loaned Canada $250 million?
Yes.
And for them to give to Ukraine.
Right.
So they borrowed this. It's basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, right?
Right.
Yep.
And are they going to pay that money back? No. Is there interest on that?
I didn't know Joe had a brother named Paul.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing is, the wasteful spending here, that we have to rein that in. Have you seen the way they push him back against Doge? I just watched. Who's that idiot minority speaker of the House? What's his stupid name? He was up there with
John,
Mike. No. Whatever, doesn't matter. He sucks.
Okay.
He was up there with Chuck Schumer, and they were talking about, they're all upset that Elon Musk, he violated, he got access to the Treasury, like I'm talking about how he was essentially looking at their spending, and they're getting all mad about it. It's like they're basically up there screaming like, "Oh, you can't audit us. You can't monitor how we're spending our money, how the Treasury is spending money. You can't do that."
He says, "Watch me." Look, Trump's got a great thing in the paper today. They said Elon Musk is sleeping overnight in the budget office for $1 a day, and so that's all he's getting is $1 a day, I think, or $1 is his pay. And he said, "Well, he says, of course we're going to take over this stuff and we're going to change everything." He said, "Because they don't work hard enough." He said, "They're there 5 days a week." And he says, "And those office buildings sit empty the other 2 days on the weekend when they're all home." He said, "They know where to find me. I'll be here finding all that wasteful spending on days 6 and 7, and we're going to crush them." And he's just, I love the guy.
That's what we have to do. Look, we need to have transparency in the way our country's been spending money. I love that we're already uncovering a lot of waste as is. The more that comes to light, the more that people are going to really get upset with the way it's been run. And Vivek Ramaswamy said, if we just went back to the budget that we were operating under back in, 2019, we'd have a $2 trillion surplus.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it. Huh.
I mean, think about that. A $2 trillion surplus annually, which would mean at that rate, we would essentially get out of debt, in 18 years.
Yeah.
And that's just 2019. I bet we can run an even tighter ship, do it even, really tighten the belt.
Right.
And that's before we did away with a bunch of bureaucracy. So.
And they're talking about shutting down the Department of Education or curtailing it. And somebody asked me what I thought, and I said, well, my only thought is they should have done it completely yesterday. I said they couldn't show you one thing they've accomplished since Carter opened that office.
That's right.
It was a gift.
Hakeem Jeffries. That was who was up there with Chucky Schumer.
That's right.
That's who it was. Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah. He's an idiot. They're all idiots. Well, they're not idiots. That's the thing. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt by calling them idiots. The reality is they know exactly what the hell they're doing. And they're
just evil.
Yeah, they're being evil. They're destroying the country as best they can. They're throwing a wrench in it at every possible step of the way. These people are just dragging their feet, and they know what they're doing. They're horrible. They're crisis actors, and they're criminals, and they're really the treasonous traitors.
Yes.
So, anyways, we got to take our bottom of the hour break here on America Matters. When we get back, we're going to continue the conversation. Don't forget to get involved. Go to Facebook, America Matters Media's page there. Comment, like, and subscribe. I'm Leo Zachy with Eddie Floyd, Chandler Lawson, and Paul White today. We'll be right back.
Slice fresh sandwiches every day, made right before your eyes. The portal stops way. Be a smoking number 5 or a classic number 8, or maybe an Italian is a number 1 fave. Whatever you crave, prepare to fall in love. Slice fresh sandwiches, portal subs.
Get ready for the big game with a Port of Subs spectacular sub assortment. Feed 10 to 12 of your hungry family and friends for just $43. Choose your favorite 5 classic subs loaded with premium meats and cheeses on your choice of fresh baked bread and all your favorite fresh veggie toppings and sauces. Mix and match your subs to satisfy everyone's taste and score big with your team. Stop by your neighborhood Port of Subs or order ahead at portofsubs.com. Port of Subs, we're slicing up the quality you crave.
Whatever yummy number you're dreaming of, slice fresh sandwiches, Port of Subs.
Families of deceased and cremated veterans can apply to receive commemorative plaques or urns from VA. If they do not want to inter their loved ones in a VA national cemetery or receive a government-furnished headstone marker or medallion for placement in any cemetery, commemorative urns are used to hold the remains of a deceased cremated veteran, and commemorative plaques are designed to hang on a wall. If a family chooses a plaque or an urn, VA is prohibited by law from interring that veteran's remains in a VA national cemetery or from providing a headstone marker or or medallion for placement in any cemetery. To be eligible, the veteran must have served in the armed forces on or after April 6, 1917, and must be eligible for a headstone or marker under 38 U.S.C. 2306D, and the veteran's remains must have been cremated with no portion of the remains interred at any location. For more information about the NCA memorial options, go to the VA website or contact David Otler, a NV Veterans Advocate with Walton's Funeral and Cremation, 775-843-1901.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Leo, you on mute?
I am. Wow. Damn it.
I thought you were talking.
I was. I was just saying that we're back and Paul White's great. We love him.
Yes, absolutely.
Leo, I had something I thought you might be interested in. I'm putting together a thing. I'm getting ready to put an offer out to what I did one time over in California. I asked for the worst school in the state, and San Francisco stepped up and said, "We got it. Come on up here." So I did. And it was Potrero Hill Middle School, and it took all of about 2 weeks to turn it around. And I'm getting ready to offer that same thing in Nevada. When I was putting my list together, I thought you might be interested in what the order of business is, quick and simple and easy, when you're going to turn one around, either one or 10,000 of them in California.
Well, I'd love to hear about it because I want to definitely have you helping out here in California. You've already got experience doing it here, and you've proven successful, and you keep it pretty simple.
Oh, well, the best part of this is it's like, those, what I've got waiting for me at home, which is that tube of raw chocolate chip dough, just slice it, throw it in. You got cookies that you can pretty much turn schools the same way. First thing you start with is they got to be there. So you've got a law that says if the parents don't send the kids every day, school can drag them into court and fine them and punish them and hold driver's licenses until they do. So that's the first thing. It doesn't matter if they're clean and sober or smart or dumb. If they're not at school, you can't do anything with them. So
Right.
So first thing you do is you put the hammer down, they're all coming. Second thing you do, even if they're all there and they're all loaded out of their minds on drugs, still can't get anything done. So the second thing you do is start implement drug testing. And people say, whoa, drug testing isn't constitutional. I say, wait a minute, I forgot. Voluntary drug testing. And I said, I'll give you and Eddie a quiz, which I know you'll pass. Which the same department in the military in the United States has both the hardest training system and has the least problem meeting their recruitment quotas? Which branch would that be? They're the toughest on them, and they recruit
the forces.
Yeah, the armed forces. Yeah, unarguably the Marines.
Yeah.
And so, how do you get people to say, well, voluntary drug testing? Who would want to do that? The Marines get people to join them because they've got some pride and it feels good to be it. And every school I've ever been at where I did voluntary drug testing had 100% buy-in. And you tell them, we want to have a school you can be proud of. Your school's an embarrassment. Here's how you do it. We want you to be proud. Stand up. Ones who are clean, we're going to celebrate them. The ones who aren't, we're going to say, come on, you're holding us back. So, and it works. So first step, they're in school or the parents are in court with them. Second step, everybody, you change the whole culture of the school. Nobody wants to use drugs. It's a cool thing to be. Life has problems, but take them on clean and sober.
Amen.
So you get them there. Then they got to be respectful. They're not respectful. They're not even staying there. Boom, they go on home study. And Leo, this is what I refer to as the 2% solution. If a school's has gotten out of order, has gotten out of line, there's at least 2% of them. So let's say you got a 600 kid middle school or 1,000, make it easy. Take 1,000 kid high school. You've got at least, what would it be? 20?
Yeah.
You've got 20 kids in that school that have screwed up so long, so bad, or setting everything on fire, they need to go. People say, oh, you can't expel them. Well, you can, but you no need to. I never expel anybody. Simply put them on home study. You got a computer and you can check in once a week with a teacher and say, we'll check back with you at the end of the semester. If you're behaving, getting your work done, and you can pass a drug test, good. Come on back. If you can't, we'll check with you in another semester. So 2% boom, and immediately everybody else gets the message. So they're there, they're sober, they're behaving. You get rid of a thing. Have you ever heard the words credit recovery, Leo?
I mean,
with schools?
Not with well, for like their school credits.
Yeah, how they've abused this is they take a kid. The policy now, you can miss a class all semester, never show up. And around 2 weeks before the end of the semester, they start getting nervous. They're not going to graduate. So they have they abuse a thing called credit recovery. And they come in after school for a couple hours a day for 5 days, a couple hours after school, do nonsense, busy work, ditto sheets, copy sheets, and they get a C+ in the class. That's how they're taking a state full of illiterates, ours, yours, whoever's, and that's how they're keeping their graduation rates up. They hand out 90% of diplomas. They'll let them recover anything on this credit recovery.
That's awful, because all it does is it puts out a bunch of kids that aren't ready to be functional in society.
Sure. Right. And what pride is there in having a diploma where you know that in Nevada here, Leo, 90% of the kids we give a diploma to can't qualify for the lowest remedial, like bonehead math or English class at a community college.
No.
It's tragic. Oh, it's just tragic. So this is when I go into a school, and I've gone into 12 of them and done this. So you get them there, get them sober, get them respectful, get rid of credit recovery. You don't go to class, you don't pass. You're going to be part of that 2% that gets put out there, and you absolutely put up with nothing. And so they get a pride. They're clean and sober. They're proud of being there. They start to learn something. The parents now are on check. Oh, if your child gets suspended for anything, parents are so, loose about this. Well, how you get them a little less loose is if your child, I wrote another book. It's called Quit Blaming Your Kids. It's your fault. It's for parents. And and so when a child gets suspended, two things happen. That kid goes home that day, and that very next Saturday, that parent is at the school for 4 hours getting parent education. Well, can you imagine how much a parent loves on one of their few days off to have to drag down to school and sit there? So when they go home, I guarantee you, very few parents have to come back for a second go around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Well,
so
it's how you keep the accountability going, because the parents have to be somewhat responsible. Because I was thinking, like, all right, well, the kid gets kicked out, right? And he's doing the semester away sort of thing.
Yeah.
At home. I mean, what happens when you have parents that just don't care or are disconnected?
Oh, well, what? Okay, well, these are the questions they'll ask you as you're working your way to the governor's mansion. And what you do is you tell them, well, because parents will say, well, don't suspend them. My kid likes to be suspended. I said, well, that's a big problem, not with the kid, but with you. I said, if when I was suspended, I lost every privilege I had. And if they're not losing that from the parent, then it's on the parent to do this, in which case, go right back down, take them to court again, call them into a board meeting, go do anything you've got to do, put it on the table. And when the parent knows they're going to be held accountable, let me tell you, they put the hammer down.
Mm-hmm.
We just see it happen time again. So with just these very few things, parent accountability, sobriety, every day they're trying their hardest, no disrespectful behavior, or work on a computer at home, and don't call us, we'll call you. And next thing you know, it's a privilege, not a drudge, to get to go to a great school. The kids are proud of it. Their whole attitude changes. You just can't believe it. If you do this in California, they'll be naming intersections and schools after you.
Well, that's not what we're in it for. We're in it to actually.
Well, but it's okay. You deserve it. If you could do that in California, you'd deserve it.
I think they might have to. If that's the case, I'd rather them name it after you, brother, because you're the one making it happen. I'll just enable you to do it.
There you go. But no, and then the final thing you do is you just go around, and just like 2% of the kids need to go, pretty much figure the same thing with teachers.
Yeah.
And
probably more than that.
Like, for instance, if we've got 3,800 teachers here in Washoe County and the place is on fire with the kids not learning and drugs and violence, okay, ask yourself, how many of those 3,800 teachers who know what's going on have come out in a confidential call to Ed Crusade and told us really what's going on and been willing to stand up with us publicly?
Not enough.
Not one. Not one out of 3,800.
Paul, I got a question for you. What do you think about maybe having like something for kids where they can do like a sort of National Guard training thing while they're there, like sort of like ROTC, but like, you know, in high school as maybe a way for credit, be like a physical education thing and a disciplinary thing too.
Anything that builds self-discipline and strong moral values can only be a positive. That's it. I'll tell you another one that's great. Very few states do it. 85% is the approximate number of kids who, by the time they graduate from high school, have never worked a day in their lives.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, what's that tell you? And so now, what you do is you have two things. You have, and they've never done anything for anybody else to a great extent too. So you have two extra requirements for graduation. One is a minimum by the time you hit 12th grade, 200 hours, which is nothing, of paid employment, doing anything. Paid employment where you brought it in. My kids, you'd show your slip, show you you were putting a third of it in the bank and savings and keeping it there. And the kids would get together and they wouldn't talk trash with each other about.
Well, you'd have to definitely limit the amount of homework kids are getting. You have to give them less homework.
It gets even better. Like I say, you're gonna blow their minds next door.
Because I hate homework. Homework.
Let me tell you something. Every study since they've been doing them for decades has shown that homework absolutely does nothing positive, and if anything, makes you hate going to school.
Yes.
If you can't give them enough,
I could tell you that without spending money on a study.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what it does. It develops in the children a tendency to cheat on everything. All they do is cheat on the homework. And it ruins the family attitude because the families are always having a nag. And I'll show you. You can see
homework.
This.
No, I want to play games.
Yeah, you can see this, Leo. When the teachers are getting the homework and they go home with it, here's what they do with it. Stand over their garbage can and drop it right in there. Yeah, it's so there's no homework. Say what there is 5 hours of.
Well, yeah, you know what? But they'd get a better education if they weren't, acting like a bunch of savages in the classroom.
There you go.
So
you get that out of there.
What's that magic word? Starts with a D? Discipline.
Discipline. Well, and if they're going to be like that in the classroom, they'll only be that once, as long as it takes to call up the parents. Say, come get them. You got 20 minutes. We're just going to turn them. They can walk home and say, get out their computer. They can take their lessons during the day. And we'll see at the end of the semester and see how they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing to get rid of.
You got to make sure they don't cheat at home too, because all of a sudden they could go from being, dysfunctional kids to straight A students online. So we'll have to find a way to make that balance take.
Believe me, if they did that.
Paul, we got to take our last break here. I do love talking to you about education. I want to keep talking about this. So let's take our last break and we'll come right back to that. This is America Matters. I'm Leah Zach with Paul White, Eddie Floyd, Jim Lawson. We'll be right back.
At a Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, we've been accomplishing happy feet for over 30 years.
We offer a various range of shoe styles and sizes for both men and women. From all-season shoes and orthotics to work boots and safety shoes, our professional and reliable staff possesses the knowledge to help you find the proper shoes to fit your needs. Hard to fit? Hard to find?
A Proper Fit Footwear is here to give our customers happy feet. We make people aware of potential foot problems as we're sizing their feet, suggesting the right arch support, and guiding them to the proper shoes for their needs.
Stop by a Proper Fit Footwear at 4001 South Virginia Street in the Reno Town Mall today, and allow the owner Mike Jones and our fabulous staff to find the perfect pair of shoes tailored to your specific needs.
A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, the home of happy feet, where comfort and your feet meet.
In times of market volatility, it can be a good reminder to revisit your financial strategies to make sure they align with your goals. Call 775-674-2222 or visit nvretirementplanners.com. Advisory services are offered through Nevada Retirement Planners, an investment advisor in the state of Nevada. Any insurance products and services are offered through Nevada Senior Advisors. Nevada Retirement Planners are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any government agency. Nevada Retirement Planners does not provide legal or tax advice.
I used to love going for long walks, but my back just doesn't cooperate like it used to.
Same here. But ever since I started a routine with Active Life Integrated Health on Moana Lane, I feel more flexible and in control. You should check them out.
This is Dr. Tom Waldorf. Let's make it happen so you can feel better naturally. To schedule the beginning of your transformation, call 775-842-0065 or visit activelifereno.com online.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the show.
All right, folks, we are back with America Matters. I'm Leo Zaki with Eddie Floyd, Shannon Lawson, and Paul White joining us today. And Paul is that wealth of knowledge when it comes to education. And I love it. He's got plans for discipline, and it all makes sense. It's real simple. And I know I'm asking good questions because, I like to poke holes in things because I know there's a way to figure it out, but that's okay. We got to do that. But this is the kind of constructive dialogue that needs to be taking place because right now our schools are trash. Our kids don't know math. They don't know how to read at the proper level. They couldn't get a job. And everyone's like, oh, Americans don't want to work those jobs. Let's give them to illegals. Well, maybe Americans are too dumb for these jobs. You think about that, maybe? That might be a possibility. Right. But who the hell wants to hire someone who can't do basic math or read properly or, I don't know, have proper social skills? No, they're not getting hired. But, all these people coming in across the border that will take cash and half of what they would normally charge and not have to be, covered by insurance. That sounds a lot more enticing to a business here in this country now, doesn't it? Especially when you factor in the arbitrary regulations that just hammer down business and the stupid high taxes that just strangle them to death.
Absolutely.
Think education might be important? I do. I think it's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Well, the one thing, Leo, they don't see a connection for. Consider this. I would argue that two of our biggest problems would be education and homelessness. Well, let's see what are the four things that predict whether a person's going to be homeless. One is
education.
No education. Yeah. Okay. Another is let's see, what is it? No education, no sobriety, no self-control, and no work experience. Well, when the kids come out of school, there's no self-control. They're totally misbehaving. There's no education. They've been using for 3, 4, 5 years in school, and they've never worked. People, it's a 1-to-1 correlation between getting our schools better and curing the homeless. What do you think?
No doubt. I mean, it's definitely a big cause for that. And that's why when I talk about, homelessness, and it's identifying the root cause. And I say it's a mental health crisis compounded with a drug habit, exacerbated by a failed education system here. And that's really it. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
On the market.
If you don't have kids, able to take care of themselves and function in a society where, look, we're a first world nation. We're an advanced country. A lot of folks who haven't been around the world, been to a third world country and seen what life is like down there. Yep. It's a stark contrast, let me tell you. And in this modern day, in this modernized country, you better be sharp, because if you're not going to make it. But that's what we need to do, is have excellence and hold people to these high standards of excellency and have accountability.
One of the it's a competitive race. I say one of the biggest liars we've had on the school board. There's been so many, but one of them a couple of years ago said, we will continue to give our children in Washoe a world-class education. And I said, that could only be true if the world you're referring to is the third world.
Seriously. But you know what? The thing about third world education is those kids actually learn how to survive down there.
Right. That's right. They work.
Yeah. Here they don't. If there was no power and no internet, these kids would die.
Yep.
It would be chaos within 2-3 days.
Yep. Oh yeah.
You're right.
They wouldn't know how to start a fire or cook their own food, or I don't know, maybe figure out how to get the power back on. You know? Let alone have the social skills to work together. I mean, it would just be like the chop zone that they had up there, and was it like Portland or Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle.
Yeah.
You know, Capitol Hill occupied, what is zone, chop, whatever, Chaz,
Yeah.
chop, whatever the hell.
Right. Right.
You know, and what happened? A drug dealing warlord took over, and people got murdered.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that's the society that we're breeding right now, because we're not having our education operating, let alone at an optimal level. It's just not even operating.
The cartels are a great example of that.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? We here in California love to spend our money on giving education to illegal immigrants.
Right.
Because they're important. They're more important than we are citizens. We have to have compassion for them. We also have to empty our coffers for them.
Yeah. Well, you know, another qualification for graduating the schools need, and they can do this at any age level, Leo, is community service. We'd go out for 2 hours on Friday mornings, and we would do something for the community. And sometimes we'd take them out to growers nearby, and we'd pick anything, pomegranates, oranges, carrots, whatever, and donate them to the food bank. And things like it. And some of these activities were some of the best and most remembered thing by former students that I've ever had. It's just simple. You know, somebody said one time, excellence is just doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. And that's what our schools have lost sight of.
That's really what it is.
Yep.
I just hate seeing these videos of kids acting out and getting aggressive. And it really upsets me. And then I also, I hate seeing these videos, where they're doing like those like on the spot, on the street interviews, and like, they're asking them like super basic questions. I mean, I've played clips like this before, but it's like, they're like, hey, they're like, name 3 countries in North America, and they're stumped. How many dimes are in $1? 6. Like, I mean, what?
Well, and then it shows their social habits too. The average kid can name 3 presidents and can name 8 different types of beer.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah. Who's coming up with these
3 presidents?
This is it's pretty clever. Who's coming up with these?
Oh, there's good stuff out there. There's good stuff out there. There's good people out there. We just don't listen to them,
Well, hold on, because there's a bureaucracy that says we're in charge.
Right.
Don't talk back to me. And you know what? We're going to shut your microphone off when you come into one of these meetings. We're going to turn your microphone off.
Right.
No, we're in charge. We're elected to this board, or we've been appointed to this board. We're in charge. We make $400,000 a year. Don't tell us what to do. I'm the paid professional. You're just the stupid parent. I mean, it's just that kind of garbage.
You're right, Leo.
Oh, yeah.
But
he's 100%.
And you mentioned
absolutely.
And you mentioned the good people. Paul, we need the good people to stand up. But more importantly, we need the good people to get elected into office. What the hell are people doing voting for these clowns? I mean, and I'll be frank with you. When people go to the polls, they have that little description of like, what their job is, what they do for like work or a living, right? Mm-hmm. And when they're running for office, and that's all people ever see, because I guarantee you they've done zero research on any of those candidates down ballot. And they're just like, oh, what is their job title? Oh, they're a lawyer. This one's a doctor. This one's a teacher. This one was a principal. This, that's all they know. But how do you know who's the good one?
Right.
What would you like to see in somebody running? Like, because that's the only description that people are going to have. And don't get me wrong, there's great teachers. There's also a lot of bad teachers and woke indoctrinating teachers. What do you think would be a good job to have if you were running for like school board? what would be a big selling point for you that wasn't like, that would maybe say, hey, this person's probably got a good morals and values going on? Or is it just too hard to say?
Well, no. The FAA, I hate to mention in light of what's going on, but typically FAA has always been run by a former pilot. Bar Association is headed up by a
former attorney.
AMA by doctors. Now, there's only one place where you can go for public office. That's a school board, where typically nobody there has ever spent 1 second teaching one kid, turned around one school, done anything, and they elect the school board and they say to the school board, well, what qualifies you to want to be a school board member? They go, oh, I love kids. Say, well, you forgot to mention baseball and apple pie, but that doesn't really have anything to do with being on the school board. And so they simply don't, you can't teach what you don't know. Is kind of an aphorism.
And that's true. No,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
but that's what you want. You want somebody who's been in there and done it.
Yeah, it's just really hard to help get those people any sort of visibility. Do you think the GOP should do more? I mean, I know it's not a political position. Well, you know what I mean. It's not you know what I mean. It's not like a Democrat or Republican running for that seat. I mean, even though that's very commonly that situation, it's not divided up like that. It's just people running. Do you think there should be a political stigma tied to it, or I mean, it's such a mess, all this stuff.
If you come out of the gate, Leo, I tell you what, when I was listening to you just yesterday, and that's the first time I'd heard you tell your story about how you got going as a kid and coming up and then ended up with the grandparents. If I were out there listening to an armload of candidates going to run for governor, and the first ones are just going to start by giving the normal spiel, and you were to come up and say, answer that question. Say, everybody's heard of Zachy Chicken Fingers. Oh, there's Leo, born a billionaire, and this. Yeah. And if I'd heard you come up and start with that story, boom, you would have had my vote.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Paul.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I'd love to carry on talking about that, but yeah, I've got an interesting story. But don't be a victim, be a victor. That's the whole motto.
Good one.
Go out and seize the day. Carpe diem, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again, Paul.
Thank you, Leo.